Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Got your water?
Yeah, I need water. Oh Lord, it's gonna get hot.
It's about to get hot. Coming in hot. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Living Blessed, the podcast. I'm your host, Jovan J. Palmer. And as always, I have a special guest on the podcast sharing special and vulnerable moments. This time we got Miss K. Powell on. What's up?
Hey.
Why are you looking so nervous for?
I mean, it's a little hot. It's a little hot.
I mean, the lights are beaming, but you know, you're looking good. You look you lost some weight since I last seen you.
I mean, just
Been
a
working
little
out?
bit, just working out, you know,
Okay.
toning up. You know,
All
you
right.
lost some weight. Like
I have, you know. My good brother back here been training.
Okay.
I don't know if it's training or killing me one.
Oh, I mean, a little bit of both. I kind of
Yeah, like, right now all of this is hurting right now.
Yeah.
And then I went to the gym on Saturday, my homegirl, so my whole body's hurting.
Really?
I'm
yeah,
like-
my body, same
Yeah.
way. I got into a car accident.
Really?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm still working out too.
are you okay?
I'm good.
What
I
happened?
mean,
Was it your fault?
No, they hit me from the back, a company driver.
In your new car?
Yes, in my new car.
Dang.
So,
Ooh,
yeah,
I'm glad you're okay. In the land of the living.
in the land of the living, blessed and highly favored.
Oh, for sure. You definitely are.
Definitely.
You've been killing it lately. I've been watching.
Thank you.
Tell the people who you are.
Well, my name is Kay. I am a hairstylist. I am a beauty entrepreneur. I have a beauty brand called Kay's Boutique. I am just a serial entrepreneur all around. I like to motivate people on starting their businesses and coach them on the processes that I've already been through and teach them my mistakes.
Word.
Yeah.
So let's go back. I like to go back before we go forward, okay?
All right.
So where are you from? Are you
from here.
originally
I'm Georgia Peach.
Grady, baby?
Georgia Peach, Atlanta Baptist.
What?
That's back when it was Atlanta Baptist.
I was say I never heard of
It's something else now. Somebody tell me what it is now, because it's something else now, but it was called Atlanta Baptist.
Atlanta
back then,
Baptist.
95.
95.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
It's
Born
very
and
rare you meet people from Atlanta.
Everybody else need to go
Why?
because y'all have really turned it up. Like, y'all gotta go back home. Go back home, Roger.
Jay, so you originally from Atlanta. What was
Atlanta.
it like growing up in Atlanta? Like back when Atlanta was just Atlanta itself.
Well, I grew up on the south side of Atlanta, in Clayton County for the
Okay.
most part. Well, from my childhood. After Clayton County, we moved to Henry County. Henry County is where I pretty much grew up and kind of met all my childhood friends that I still have now and kind of established my circle.
Gotcha. Now,
Yeah.
are you friends with them to this day? Some of
Still
them?
to this day.
Every last one of them.
Most of them, we're pretty much either friends in passing. We still come to, like, they still come to my events. We support each other on Instagram.
Because you got a solid team.
You know what? Everybody
You got a
say
solid
that. I have
you
a
do.
solid group
Because
of people.
when you had your first event here and somebody had showed up and I was like, I can't let you in until Kay get here, you know, because you got to come and inspect. Like, I like people have to come walk through the venue, make sure, you know, everything's how they want it, what they ask for. And she's like, no, I'm here for Kay, you know, I'm taking care of. I said, oh, okay.
Oh yes, that's my best friend.
And she
Samira.
like,
my
she's
sister and my rock.
she's about her business.
Yes.
Like, she has like I wouldn't say she don't smile.
She don't.
Okay, you said it. Okay, because she don't smile.
no, when she's about the business.
She don't smile.
Yes.
She's like, and I was like, she made me so nervous because damn, something ain't right. And then she was like, I'm here to do this, boom, 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 and like she was just like moving. She was like grabbing people, like you do this, you do that. And like, Kay has been like,
Listen,
doing her
let me tell
thing.
you a short story about her. I met her when I was in 5th grade, when we were 10 years old, and every single obstacle, every single business, every single group, everything that I've ever started, she's been right there.
really?
Literally, I
That's a
promise
solid
you,
friend.
solid is not even a word. Like, I don't even think they make people like this anymore.
Nah,
No.
it's very rare that you find somebody
Yeah.
like that. Except for this guy right here. You can't
Yeah.
see him. Marcus shows up to everything I do.
Really, same thing about Samira.
Yes, I get it.
She's just at
I
work now.
get
That's
it.
the only reason why she isn't here.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she's
yeah.
here, trust me.
Yeah, for sure. And I
Yeah.
get it. Like Marcus is like one of the people, my best friend. She's one of the people. Like, it's very rare that you find people who will
That's-
show up for you and then not just
And
show up,
it's-
but show up and execute for you.
Exactly.
Because I've seen her show up for you, execute throughout the whole event, and then after the event, when something's over, most people they kind of scatter. She's still there holding it down.
Make sure everything
So it's something
wraps
about
up.
you that you've been doing throughout your whole life that's made her want to stay around. And
Yeah.
what is that thing? Like, because I feel like you can teach somebody a value of a relationship or a friendship to keep somebody around for that long, even through, I'm pretty sure y'all have had y'all ups and downs
Yeah.
and whatnot. But like, what are some things that you've done to help build a solid team in your journey to entrepreneurship?
It's so crazy. So she's the rock. So from her, she's been through, like I said, every single thing I've been through every single thing with her. So therefore, like, we've always had each other's back growing up like sisters. We kind of stuck to that. We fight like sisters, we argue like sisters, but at the same time, we love each other like sisters, and we're there for each other like sisters.
Yeah.
So that's with her. But as far as anybody else, it's like, as we all know, people are people, and everybody has their own dreams and aspirations and things like that. And sometimes people come around because they're trying to be on the same thing that you're on. So sometimes I've understood now that I'm a stepping stone. I've accepted that.
Okay.
And I accept that, like, I tell all of my stylists that come into my shop when they're even in interview and everything else like that, I tell them, like, I know that you're not gonna work for me forever. I know that you're not gonna wanna be here forever. I'm gonna ask throughout your time here that you learn as much as you can from me. Ask as many questions as you can. Learn through my mistakes. I haven't been through everything, but I've been through enough, and I've been through the stage that you're at. So ask me any questions that you need. And on top of that, just make sure that you're honest with me. Be upfront with me, because I'm gonna be upfront with you. So you have to be upfront with me. You let me know what you need from me, I'm gonna let you know what I need from you. And we're gonna have a great relationship. We're gonna get through whatever we need to get through, and we're gonna make this money. That's me and everybody else. We're gonna make this money. So yeah.
I ain't mad at it. Not mad at it. So Atlanta baby.
Yeah.
Homegirl who holds it down.
Yes.
What's something that you feel has kind of just, you maybe just have been holding inside that, you know, people is like, because you seem to like you hold it together so well. Like when I've seen you walk around like, oh, she must have it going on. You see, but we all have these moments where we crumble, we fall, and like, what are some of your moments where you feel like, you know what, I don't have it all together, and the people who look at me like, because some people think like we as entrepreneurs got it all together. Like, you know, like, oh, everything must be cool. Or like, you know, nah, you good. Like, but I like people to tell these stories of, no, I don't have it all together. Right. Like, and what are some of your stories? Like, you know, you say, I don't have it all together.
Right. Well, the thing about everything is a process. So before I got here, or what the why, as to why I'm even here, you know what I'm saying? That's the real important part, is the why I'm even here. Okay, you're talking about the girl who was homeless and pregnant.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. My 3-year-old that walks around here now, when I was pregnant with her, I was homeless.
Really?
Yeah.
The entire pregnancy?
I was homeless with her from, until probably about 5-6 months.
I never knew that.
Maybe 7 months. We had only been in the apartment for like 2 months before I had my child.
Walk us through that journey.
So, y'all finna get to know the journey. Okay, so I was staying with a family member at the time. Everyone knows that when you're staying with grown people and you're grown, it just never works out.
Hard.
It just never works out. Like, that's really the bottom line, especially in the Black community. You know what I'm saying? We all don't have the same beliefs. We all don't have the same viewpoints on things, and sometimes we get stuck in our own ways. So therefore, it's kind of hard living with other adults. You know what I'm saying? That's just a bottom line. And even then, it's a lot of compromise that has to happen. So I just was not happy where I was, and I was like, you know, I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to do whatever, you know, so I can just go. So at that time, I had already been acting and modeling and stuff like that. That's when I started picking up jobs, because I was like, okay, acting and modeling is cutting it, but I'm waiting on checks. I need, you know, whatever. Then I started just working different jobs. So I was working at a popular hotel. It was very, very popular in the city. So I had hotel rates at like $30 a night.
Really? Yeah,
so I was like, that's cheaper than apartments, and that's all your bills. I'm young, like I can, and I live this fast life already. I'm talking about, I'm acting, so I'm going to different cities. I'm doing beauty shows, so I'm going to different cities. So I'm like, this probably was best for me. Yeah. So I did that. When I was staying over there, I decided to let my child father stay at the hotels with me. So he was staying at the hotels with me and everything else like that. At that point in time, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. And it was like, it wasn't hard on me, because I don't think that anything can technically, like, I don't think there's nothing that can break me. So, and I can humbly say that through everything I've ever been through.
There's nothing that can break you.
There's nothing that can break me.
We're gonna get back into that.
There's
Continue
nothing
the story.
that can break me. So I'm gonna speed it up, because that's a long story.
No, we got time.
So basically we're staying at a hotel, whatever the case might be, coming through an agreement, this, that, and the other. This is what you're gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do, that's how we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be like a perfect balance, because, I mean, boom. I have a stomach illness. And basically, I can barely explain it to you because, yeah. So I had a gastric fundoplication.
A what?
Gastric fundoplication.
I gotta try to say that.
Gastric. Yeah.
Fundoplication.
Yes.
And that is what?
So basically, if you guys can see, I have a scar. Let me move the mic a little bit.
Let's zoom in real quick. Let's
I
go
have
to
a
the camera.
scar on my stomach. You gotta move the camera down. I probably have to
stand up a little bit.
There we go. I have a scar on my stomach. And basically right here is where they, to my understanding, tied the top of my stomach to my esophagus and did some other stuff. And over here is where I had a feeding tube. So this was when I was like, I'm talking about like 6 weeks. Like I was a couple of weeks, like a couple of months. Like, so.
You're pregnant.
No, this is before that. Okay, I had a stomach illness already.
Before the pregnancy?
Before the pregnancy.
Okay.
So that illness is what triggered a lot of my troubles in pregnancy. And it's not something that I even really paid attention to growing up like that. The only thing that it really changed is the fact that I can't throw up.
You can't throw up?
Yeah, like I can't throw up.
Really?
So like
even if you like try to like stick your finger down your throat, you can't.
So like I'll gag, but nothing's coming up. No.
Really?
No. So, and it's always been something everyone is like, oh my God, that is so cool. And like I never had a problem with it. I never had a problem with it until I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. So I threw up for the first time in my life. And I threw up bile, acid, and blood.
You threw up what?
Bile, acid, and blood. So bile is like this green stuff that helps process everything throughout your body and intestines and everything. So I'm throwing up all my insides pretty much. I'm not throwing up food. I'm throwing up insides. So it caused such a downward spiral just on my body as a whole. I was so dehydrated 24/7. I couldn't eat anything. I had a taste for nothing. I mean, I had this like terrible taste in my mouth. And I'm working at this elegant hotel in this spa. So imagine like giving someone their platter, whatever, and like having to rush and, you know what I'm saying, to the bathroom, because I'm learning all over again how to throw up as a kid. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You've never been through that part.
I never been through that. So I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I'm literally like just going through it. So it got to a point where I was just embarrassed, honestly. I mean, you didn't have to fire me. I'm gonna fire myself.
Right. I'll be out a little bit.
If this isn't for me, like, you don't have to tell me twice. But I was like, okay, well, we still have my child father to bounce back on. We good. So I was like, I told my job, couldn't do it. There was no way in the world I could even smell. It was the smell of the place too. Like simple smells, like things that just triggered me, like to just out of nowhere. I could drink this water and it might have like some type of throw up instantly. I could not keep anything.
And it's what is it called again?
Gastric fundoplication.
Yeah, okay.
And to my understanding, I was like one of the first babies they performed that on or something like that. I don't know. It's like a whole bunch of he say, she says about this surgery. Mm-hmm. I've never gotten the full like understanding because my mother passed away when I was 6.
I know that.
Yeah, she passed away when I was 6 years old. So I never got the your mom got the documents.
Everything.
The dad is like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? I understand everything. I understand it all.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, okay, so what happened? It's like, you had the surgery.
That's it.
You was sick as a baby. You know what I'm saying? But like the full details, like, yeah.
Wow.
So it's like growing up with it, I had to grow up with it.
So you're growing up with the gastro,
whatever this
thing.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not throwing up.
Yeah.
So even if you ate something bad, like what are you feeling like? If you got a stomach ache and you like, I want to, a throw up makes everything feels better, especially a good hangover.
Let me tell you, I learned that the hard way. I learned that. Let me tell you. So I still say, I threw up. I tell people that, but they know what I'm talking about. They're not like, you had an episode. Like, and it's such a severe episode. It's like I'm gagging, I'm gasping for air. At the same time, I'm gasping for air. Air is being sucked back in, so it's creating like something like an air bubble inside my stomach. I'm like explaining the experience to you.
Yeah.
So it's like an air bubble in my stomach. It expands, and it's like a big burp. Like it's just so like it's so graphic, and it's like gasping for air. Like feels like you're about to die. Like you can't catch your breath.
So every time you're about to throw up, you feel like you're about to die.
Yeah.
As a kid?
Yeah, just in general, yeah. It's like a heartbeat. You could feel like your head pounding, like it's like it's an outer body experience type situation. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Yeah. But it doesn't happen often, right? I hope y'all not just sitting around here throwing up.
We don't know.
I don't know what normal people go through when it comes to throwing up and stuff. So
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I threw up.
Right. So exactly. So it's not something that affects you day to day. Like I don't sit around and eat bad things or anything. I'm very like kind of healthy with a lot of my choices. I eat a lot of junk, but I'm very,
Just particular about what
particular about the junk I eat.
Okay. So all right. So you're in the hotel.
Yeah.
You're in the child of your father.
Yeah. So I ended up going out of town for a beauty show. That's what going out of town for a beauty show.
Did y'all meet in like the hair industry or something?
So we met in the acting industry. I was acting and modeling before all of this.
Okay.
So we met in that industry.
Gotcha.
Quick story. It was an indie movie. The indie movie's name was Heaven's Response. And it turned out to be a scam. Yeah.
Dang.
And that's the only indie movie I had ever done, but I wanted to get IMDb credits to...
You want to get what?
IMDb.
What is that?
It's like this website, and it's like the credit is the website for actors and stuff like that. So
Oh,
it
so that's
pretty
how
much
people kinda,
shows
like,
your
discover
resume.
you.
That's how people discover
okay.
you. And even like if you go to auditions and you go to things like that, you want to be able to supply them with your resume, and everything is on IMDb too. So you just go to IMDb and you can see anything about any actor, actress, whatever. So I was trying to make sure I, built my resume because I was already building it like on like different like major movies and stuff like that, but I wanted major roles. I'm not getting major roles in major movies because I never did a major role before. So I wanted to build that up, build my reels and stuff like that up. So that's the reason why I even did the indie movie. So that was the first one I ever did. Turned out to be a scam.
What was the scam about it?
So apparently before I got involved, no, it never happened. Apparently they had took their money before I got casted. They were casting people in and out. So crazy. It's like God even spoke to me and told me to turn around this day. They told me they recasted my role. And then they had to, like, it was just everywhere unorganized. It was just such a terrible experience. But nevertheless, that's what we met. So, but he's a truck driver, so he ended up having a job. He ended up getting fired from that job while I was out of town. I didn't really know about it like that. And I was like getting back in town and like figuring out like, okay, so you mean to tell me you don't like have a job at all? So now we both don't have a job. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So y'all at the hotel now.
We're at the hotel and I'm like, okay, so I have money, but I don't got it like that to be paying for our food, paying for this, paying for that, paying for this, that, and the other. So he's like trying to find another job. I'm trying to find like different hustles. I was doing like this babysitter app called Sitter Tree. I was working on there. I was making good money there. It was like $14 an hour to $18 an hour babysitting rich people kids. So I was doing that. I was trying to do hair at that time again. I had already had my master's in cosmetology. So it was just like, I was trying to like really just figure out like ways I could hustle the money up, but I knew I could not work at that job because it stinks so bad. It smells so good, y'all, I promise. But back then, it stunk so bad. Every time I walked in there, I threw up. Like every
Is this restaurant still like here?
No, I'm talking about in the place. In the actual Ritz-Carlton place. That's where I was working at the hotel.
Oh.
It smelled so good in the spa. But the spa made me throw up. Like,
really?
It was like a citrus smell, yeah. And if you're pregnant, anything triggers that. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. It could be mint. It could be deodorant was a big thing for me. Like,
really?
I cannot stand the smell of deodorant. Like, if you sat next to me and I had a spray-on deodorant that didn't have a scent.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't have a scent. But that heavy...
like
mint deodorant and the white powder, that made me throw up. Like, it was so many different things that made me throw up. So
you're not gonna throw up now, are you?
No, I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant.
I was making sure.
Listen.
Come over here. We'll do this social distance podcast.
No, I promise.
Okay.
Not gonna throw up. But yeah, so yeah, he didn't have a job. I didn't have a job. So at this point, I'm like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So out of nowhere, he's like, my friend got an opportunity. He out there in Cali, and I'm about to, see what's going on. Like, he about to get signed. So I'm like, you about to get signed. Now, mind you, my whole family is in the music industry. So I'm sitting here like, so what did you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, dead serious. I'm like, so what did you do? So I'm waiting for, so what did you have to do with this? Like,
right.
So he's like, yeah, so I'm leaving. So I'm like, so you're leaving? I'm pregnant. We don't have no money.
And you about to
go? So that became that became a whole situation.
So he ups and leaves
So he
you.
borrowed some money to catch a one-way to California.
And he knows you're pregnant.
Yeah, we had just went to hear the heartbeat and everything. Yeah.
You said he.
Yeah. I said we had just meant to hear the heartbeat and everything.
Oh, okay.
We had just heard the heartbeat, everything. Yep.
He ups and leaves.
He's like, I'm leaving. I'm
To
leaving
go
like within a couple days.
to California.
To go to California.
To become nobody knows.
Yeah. Stop. Yo. Listen. You know, I knew he wanted to be a photographer because he did a lot of my work and stuff like that. And I knew that he was trying to pursue his artist career too, because, you know, we met in the industry. We met in the industry. So everybody had their own dreams or whatever before we met.
Sure.
So I was like, you know, I don't know what you had organized in the top of the year for this to be, but I really was concerned. I was really like genuinely asking, like, so what did I waited for the plugins. Like, how did you get into this? How did you get it? Because I know when somebody gets signed, they don't sign a whole friend. They don't sign the friends, y'all. They don't sign. They sign the person.
D4L got signed.
I mean, that's a group. D4L. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they were friends before Eminem.
If you're in a group, if you're in a music group. But if you just a part of the
just
entourage, or be on the phone with him, you just be on the phone with them every now and then, or you know what I'm saying?
So he sold you the story that I got signed.
No, he didn't sell me the story. The story, let me tell you can't sell me nothing, okay? You can never sell me. I'm upset. Never was able to be okay with that. But you're grown. I can tell you to stop. I can tell you no. I can tell you this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, you have willpower. You're going to do whatever
you want
it
to do.
is
Yeah,
that
for
you
sure.
want to do. So I did all the yelling. I did all the screaming. I did all the explosions and having anxiety and all this stuff. And I'm pregnant.
How far are you this time?
At this point, I'm about 3.5 months.
He's leaving you to go to California.
He's leaving to go to Cali. So he's like, yeah, so that's pretty much how I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna send some money back. They said they'd help me out with bills, and they said this and they said that. And I'm like, well, I need it in writing. Like, I'm a scholar, okay? I grew up with people in the music industry. My family is heavily a part of it. I'm not green to anything.
Right.
So, and I grew up fast. So I'm like, yo, something is not right. This is not gonna be that. This be happy for me. He's like saying, like, guys, they gaslight you. So he's like, just be happy for me. Just be happy for me. And I'm just like, I mean, I am, but wait, no. Like,
I got a whole kid on the way.
I have a whole kid on the way, and I don't have anywhere to stay. And you borrowed money for that, but couldn't borrow money for us to eat. So I'm eating off, like, the Dollar Menu, Burger King. I'm eating off, like, because I don't want to ask for help. Because at this point, I'm, like, pregnant with somebody else's child. We're each other's responsibility. Like, I've already chose you to be my life partner when I decided to even step out, and it's what we were going to do. So at this end of the day, I know I'm grown. Now, mind you, I could have called 1,000,005 people up and asked for money and asked for anything and asked for whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not anyone else's responsibility. And I think that everyone needs to know that. I'm not your responsibility. You're not my responsibility. So I have to travel my journey in life. You have to travel yours. Yeah. So I'm like literally going through it. So I'm like, oh my God. So I end up calling my best friend. Not the one I work with, but my guy best friend. I call him. I'm like, look, I need a place to stay. He's like, what's wrong? I said, call your mom. I need a place to stay. And he's like, what's going on, KP? That's what they call me. What's going on, KP? What's going on? I'm like, I'll tell you when I get there. He called his mom. I had already started heading there. He called his mom. His mom called me. They're like, yeah, we can take you in. Like, how long do you need to stay? This, that, and the other. I told her I only needed like a couple months, because at this point, like, you never know, really. You never know where life is gonna take. You can say, oh, I'm moving next week. And guess what? The apartment is gone to somebody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can say, oh, I'm doing this, but then, I don't know, your tire might blow out, and then your money going somewhere else. So I told her 3 months or whatever, and then I was like, okay, let's go through that. So I'm going through this. I'm spending the holidays, Thanksgiving. I'm going through this, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to even do anything. So I'm at my friend's house, and I borrowed my little brother's laptop. I had him bring it over, And I'm on there, and I had already had my LLC to my business. I had already had my product stock photos that we had taken because I told you he wanted to be a photographer.
Yeah.
So we used the hotel sheets to even take my product pictures.
Smart.
Yeah, we did that. So I had already had everything prepped. So I said, I got to get back to root. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When stuff happens, like, you got to still stay focused.
Right.
But it's so hard to stay focused when stuff is taking up your mind capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your mind can only take so much.
Yeah.
Like, within time, within just the space. Just like you have memory in your computer, your mind only has so much capacity.
Right.
So at this moment, it's just so hard. I'm like, okay, let me just focus on this. That's when I created K's Boutique. That's when I created ksboutique.com. I used the 14-day free trial on Shopify, and I started my business. That's when K's Boutique was born. Because at that point, I couldn't do anything else. So I was still doing hair, or trying to do hair. It's before Instagram was like the Instagram it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that. So this, like, now, back then, we passing out business cards. We're doing everything else like that. So I'm doing that too, but at the same time, I'm still sick, like, I'm pregnant. So I started clientele a little bit. My first friend, she brought some hair, and the profit was straight. So from that one time, I took pictures of my work, and I posted it. That's when I started learning how to work Instagram. So I posted it, and from there, I had did my friend's hair in high school. Always keep your pictures, y'all. I know your phone gets out of mirror. Always keep your pictures. I did my friend's hair in high school, and she taught me how to do the style I'm most known for now. And we went through, it's the Havana Twist.
The what? The
Havana Twist. It's like 2-strand rope twist used extensions. So it creates like a soft twist for the women.
Okay.
Yeah. Y'all Google Havana Twist.
Look this up real quick.
So I started doing the Havana Twist or whatever. So I had took pictures of that, uploaded it on there, and I was just out of town. At this time, I'm out of town. I'm like, how can I make money? No, let's go back.
Okay, I see.
So my child's father, he's out there in Cali. Maybe 2 weeks after they're out there in Cali, they ended up getting put out of the house that they were in because I guess whoever was there wasn't paying their bills.
Yeah.
So that ended up happening. He ended up staying in a hotel out there that was even worse than the hotels we were here. So he was in a bad predicament. He didn't have no money for food. He didn't have nothing. Like, you're talking about
I just struggling.
Nothing. I'm talking
he
about
really
struggling.
living that
so now
Cali
he's
dream
living
as
a Cali artist dream.
Artist. Yeah,
he's living a starving artist dream. And this is only like 2 months. This is only like 2 months at this point. So I'm still staying with my friend at this time or whatever. And, you know, I'm just going through motions already here. Now I'm carrying your baggage there too. Because I'm like, why'd you say? Like, why'd you do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? But you don't ever want to say, you don't want to ever question anybody throughout their journey, like, dang, why'd you make these decisions after they make the decision? You ever made a decision and then afterwards somebody's like, I told you not to do it.
You know.
So I'm sitting here trying to like play it cool because I'm like, you know, whatever. And I mean, we went through a lot in those 2 months too. So I mean, at this point, I'm like, what? So I had already hustled up me some money to the side, like, you know, for
what you doing there and stuff.
Yeah. So he's like, you know, I need to come back.
You pay for him to get back.
Let me tell you. You
better not have.
Let me tell you. So he's like, I need to come back, this, that, and the other. I was like, well, we gotta have a game plan. Like, you can't just come back. No, you can't. There's no way, because I can't give you this. So he's like, okay, this, that, and the other. So he ended up starting applying for these other jobs out there. So at this point, he's sending me the application stuff, like to show me that he's doing whatever. So this one job had picked up on him, and it was like, you know, they were hiring, you know, truck driving jobs is the easiest jobs to get, okay?
Yeah.
So, right. Yeah, so he literally got this job, like, instantly. And this job is paying, like, dang near $800 a week, okay?
That's good money,
so
man.
I'm sitting here like, okay, we could have did that this whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that. I mean, you telling me that you have your CDLs, but I didn't know what that did back then. So I'm like, So he's like, you know, I got this, that, and the other. You could just come on a truck with me. You know, they always bring people on the truck with them. So I'm like,
you to hit the road with him.
So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I gotta use this money to get you from where you are, and then go on a truck. And what? I'm be just living on the truck? Like, he's like, yeah, we'll be back every week and a half, 2 weeks. But I mean, you'll be able to whatever. I'm still pregnant. So I'm like, okay, if you don't do this, I was weighing out my pros and cons of doing this. Mm-hmm. I'm always going to do that in my decisions. And I knew that it was in my best interest that I did that. And let me tell you why. It was in my best interest that I did that because it would take off the load of me paying this lady rent every month. Because either way, this money's about to go to somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
So I could still take appointments when I come back in town as long as I arrange it the right way. Mm-hmm. And at least I won't have to worry about food and everything else like that. Mm-hmm. I don't have to worry about anything else like that. And he be straight too. And therefore, when we do get to wherever we need to get to, I mean, at this point, you know, you add that money up, you can move out whenever.
Yeah.
So getting everything up, I'm like, okay, we'll be able to then get an apartment and we'll be able to start over from clean slate. Right. We can start everything right. Mm-hmm. So I got to that point, and it was so crazy because I just knew that was the right decision. I knew that I was the right decision. So I went ahead, I gave him the money. It was like $300 and something to get him in town Thanksgiving weekend when everybody coming back home. So I had to get him back in town so that he can get to that orientation. Mm-hmm. So I used that money for that. After that, we used literally my credit cards to be able to stay at an Airbnb for like $20 a day for us to be able to just
You was in a room for $20?
$20 a day. This is back then. This is back when this
is like the beginning stage.
This the beginning stages of Airbnb.
I mean, cause I paid $20 for an Airbnb, but I was in the living room with 3 other people.
Nah,
for $20 in Miami.
It was a house. It was all the way out the way too, but it was a house, and they had 3 rooms in there. And everybody was renting out, and the owner was there only sometimes. So at that point, I was like, literally like, okay, I can give you $20 a day. So after my credit card couldn't give you $20 a day no more, I was like, I still go check in and babysit for the kids. So the money they're giving me, I'm just giving it to you. That's 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? I always scaled my money like that. How many hours is it gonna take me to make that money? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it's only 1 hour. So all right, cool. Boom, we're gonna do it like that. Of course, you got gas that add in. You got food that add in. I'm pregnant, so that adds in. You know, necessities they add in. So stuff just was adding up. But I mean, we were just making it meet. I was really pushing us to the point where he could take it over. Right. I had to. So I pushed it all the way to that point. All my accounts hit the negatives. I had just opened a business account. All that was in the negatives.
Dang.
My personal account was in the negatives. All my cards are maxed out. And
so you have no money right now.
So at that point, now I have absolutely no money, like none. So thank God everything worked out with the truck driving situation. It was an absolute miracle too. Everything worked out and we hit the road. It was an absolute miracle too.
So you out on the road.
Yeah.
With your child's father.
Yeah.
Pregnant.
Yeah.
In random cities and towns and states.
And he took care of everything. He kept that promise.
How was that?
It was an experience. So we had some good times. Like, of course, this is like now winter time. Like I said, this is about Thanksgiving time. So I'm going through the winter storms up north. Mm-hmm. That's my first time ever going through there. Like, I'm talking about New York. And we're driving.
No joke.
And he's driving. You don't understand how dangerous that is.
Yeah.
A truck driver's job is always like...
It's a dangerous job.
It's a very dangerous job. So to see all the different things that I saw, it was very scarring, honestly, because it's a whole different world driving a truck. It's a whole different world. Like, people jumping out in front of them, slamming on brakes. I mean, I'm laying down. Imagine somebody slamming on brakes like that to avoid hitting the car in front of them.
You just in shock.
Imagine going through the mountains and it's ice. And half of the truck drivers, you seeing them veer off into these side roads because they can't stop themselves. And it's like a road that goes up, and most truck drivers like end up crashing. Yeah. So these are different, like these are actual routes that aren't on the usual map. So I'm seeing something totally different, of course. But of course we had some good times. Yeah. But you know, the timing is demanding. I can't eat when I want because he can't stop when I want.
You gotta meet.
Meet your time. You only have a specific amount of time to drive, all those things. So all
that's
those
why
things.
Truck drivers got all that, like they cook and do all that stuff inside their trucks.
It just makes more sense.
Oh, okay.
It makes more sense. So I'm eating gas station food. Because at the end of the day, like I'm telling you, like I'm living damn near almost a jail life. So I'm like literally making tuna and crackers and got noodles that's cooking in the microwave in the gas station while I go inside and go pee. Like I'm that comfortable with the gas stations up there now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've gotten to that point where I'm like, okay, now I have a routine or how I'm gonna do everything. And some gas stations had like the crispy crunches and the crispy crunches. You ever seen the gas station that had the food inside the gas station?
Yeah.
So it was like stuff like that. Like that was like a luxury. So IHOP was a luxury.
Really?
Yeah. I was eating Wendy's and stuff like that. Like McDonald's, stuff that you see commonly. So the luxuries was like IHOP. The luxuries was like, finding a just a random restaurant that could just give me something warm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was living that type of life.
Dang.
But I mean, he took care of everything. When we came back in town, we stayed at the hotels that we could afford at the time. Still tried to save money to the side, and we did that for a couple months. I ended up running into my former teacher on Facebook, and she had just opened up a Salon Suite. I never knew about these. So I was like, let me go check these out. So I went to go see her salon, everything else like that. I'm pregnant. We're still on the road. Literally, we had just got in town. So we went there to go see the Salon Suite. I was like, oh, this is nice. This and the other. I was like, do you have any available? It was like, yeah, we got some upstairs that's still being built, da-da-da. So I was like, oh, let me see. So they was breaking it down, telling me the price. And I was like, that's it. Now, mind you, I'm a hustler, okay? I'm a hustler. So I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
I said, I need it. I want it.
So you're wanting to come off the road to do hair?
I always wanted to I'm already doing
Yeah, you already been doing hair, but it's like you want to come off?
It's not ready yet.
So
We're going to be ready. We both going to be ready at the same time. That's how I'm like, we're going to be ready. Everybody looking at me like, okay. Of course, the owner's like, okay, cool. And he looking at me like, yo, you have lost your mind.
Right. You know our situation.
You have lost your mind.
You know what's up.
You
trying to add another bill?
Just got off the road. Like, we literally just, like, pulled off the road, stopped. I don't think we even got anything to eat yet. So this is the first thing we did when we stopped. So he's like, yo. And I said, how much you got? 'Cause I don't have no money. I spent all my money to get us to this place. I spent every dime.
It's all on you now.
I spent I'm still in my credit suffering from, like, I'm watching the downfall of this while I'm sitting, in the back of the cubicle.
That's a hurting feeling.
And I'm sitting here trying to scrap together a way I can still make money online. With KSBoutique.com. This is 2017.
Okay.
2016, 2017. Yeah, 2017. So I'm like, I'm still trying to scrap ways I can make money online. So therefore, I know what first of all, if I tell you I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing. I promise you. I don't care what it sounds like, but if I tell you I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing. So he was like, what? I said, look. I broke it down. I said, here's how much this is. I put 6 stations in here, da-da-da-da-da. He like, how you gonna fit 6 stations in here?
In a salon suite?
Listen.
Ain't no way.
Who?
Them salon suites ain't that big, Kay.
Who? So he's like, I'm gonna show you. So he's like, I just know you not, come on. Like, so I said, listen, dude already told me if you leave, it's not gonna be here when you come back. I already could peep it because I peeped the owners, I peeped the situation, okay? So I knew that when I walk out this door, it's not gonna be here. And I'm a person of urgency off rip. So if I say, I'm ready to do this, let's do it now because I may not have it later. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take the money and risk it. Like, and it sounds so crazy.
But how do you get that way? Because, like, a lot of people can't get risky, like, when it comes to, like, being super risky, like, I'm going to risk it all. My parents are entrepreneurs. My dad's in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? Oh, so you come from entrepreneurship.
I come from entrepreneurship. Even my biological mom, when she was struggling with cancer, she used to make scarves, the banana scarves, and she used the hot glue gun, the rhinestones on top, and come up with it and sell it to the Krispy Kreme off 85 and Riverdale Road, McDonald's, and all those different places because she went to the hospital, Southern Regional, down the street. So she was selling stuff as she was going through it. Then she was taking this tea called God Blessing Herbal Tea. And it was what was like, I guess, curing her cancer. It was supposed to cure her cancer or whatever. And she was taking it for a long time. It was doing well for her. And she was doing interviews on it. And I seen all this, the marketing of it. I seen it from jump. When my dad had studio sessions, we were bringing pictures down that we traced over the coloring book. Like we would take a picture, trace it, and then color it, and then go sell it to his artist friends and stuff like that. And we literally did that. Like, that's what we did. We did that growing up. Like, I had businesses growing up with just my middle school friends, just selling random stuff. Like, I just always did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always did that. Like, this was my first ever cosmetic company. I'm trying to find a salon. But I created this in high school from crayon, shea butter, and whatever. Crayon is a non-toxic wax.
Really?
Yes, it's a non-toxic wax because kids...
Oh,
yes. So I researched on YouTube how to do it. And so I went.
You made those by hand?
Made those by hand, get the containers off of eBay, print the things off on Staples. So I always created ways that I was like, I Like, I was innovative. Like, I was always an innovative kid. I took business class in 4th grade. I took all business classes in high school. I graduated with honors, took all honors classes. So I always pushed myself to, like, I took all honors classes because there was a guy, and nobody knows, there was a guy who beat me in a spelling bee, very competitive, beat me in a spelling bee, it's Pakistan.
You trying to get back at him?
If I could tell y'all his name is so like, his name, let me tell you his name in the thing.
Who? Oh.
Like, yes, his name.
Really?
So, yes. So, he literally, like, he beat me in a spelling bee on the word interesting. And I saw we was in the same high school together, so I was like, oh, yo, I want every class he got. I want every class he got, because he the best. He the best, and I want every class he got. And I did it. I barely did it, but I did it. That's all that mattered. I walked across the stage with, it didn't matter if I had a C, a D, if I had a 70. It didn't matter what it was. As long as I walked, I was good. So I walked with the chords and the honors. I did that. Then couldn't tell me nothing. So I did that. But this was the Salon Suite. And this was the Salon Suite.
You put 6 booths in there.
6. And everything I built by hand, I did it. While I was pregnant. I put the floor in. I built these out of regular. Took mirrors, made the borders. That's where it started. That's where it finished.
This your current salon right now?
No. So of course I've upgraded from there. So that's what I did, and I said, okay, if we do this, that, and the other, we could do this that way so that we can have enough money, not just for this, but also we can have leftovers for rent too. You know what I'm saying? So therefore it takes off a lot of load, and I get to work here because I'm already having to pay this much to even work. I'm a hairstylist. You got to pay to work anyway. Right. So I was like, this is the best way, and I'm gonna have a kid. So I need a place where I can bring my kid, and I don't have to pay for childcare. So that was the original plan. So that's what we did. So that day he spent all his money, all that he pretty much had. I think we probably had like maybe $200 left. No, we probably had like $100 left over. He spent all he had so I could get the Salon Suite. He was so confused, but I knew what I was talking about. Yeah. Because I was like, it don't matter. If I'm working in there, I'm already making that. Yeah. Everything else is extra. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It only takes 2 clients for me at that time to cover a Salon Suite. So it only makes sense. If it don't make sense, it making sense. Right. So I'm like, all right, we good. So got that together. I'm putting this together. Of course, we're going through the trials of that. I ended up coming off the road, staying with a friend of mine because it was getting too close. And at this point, none of the apartments are approving us. We don't know why, because I'm not putting myself on a lease because I already messed up my credit. My credit's messed up. Right. My credit is done. Yeah. So I'm like, why are you not getting approved? What's this, then other? Like, da-da-da. So we finally get an approval, get an apartment, and that's when we started over. That's when we started a family, child, all that.
So by this point, you got baby's born. Yeah. In the apartment. Yeah. Life is seeming like it's making sense. It's fresh. It's a fresh start. It feels good now.
Yeah, we took like a 5-hour nap when we first got to the apartment. Yeah. We didn't even take the wrapper off.
Y'all sleeping on plastic.
We sleeping on the plastic. We was knocked out. I had just got my nails done. My baby shower the next day.
Dang.
My baby shower was the very next day, and I was like, I don't know what the heck we were gonna do, but thank God we were here, because that's the thing. We was like, how are people gonna be bringing us stuff? We don't have nowhere to put it. Because at this point, my car I'm the only one that had a car, so my car was filled with all of our stuff because you can't bring everything on the truck. Yeah.
So where's your car this time? Like,
so it could park at the truck stop. I mean, wherever we pick the truck up.
Okay. So y'all in this apartment, and then what?
So I'm building my business, K's Boutique, as much as I can. Building a salon, hiring people coming in. Of course, anybody who owns a salon always know that your chairs are gonna rotate. So that's just something that just happens. So I'm rotating chairs like crazy. I'm gonna have something that's, consistent. I probably have like 2 or 3 consistent, the other ones, rotating or whatever. Going through the business owner trials, being a new mom, postpartum depression.
That's a lot.
Postpartum depression is the worst.
I hear.
So it's so terrible. And
a
lot of
elaborate on postpartum depression for people who may not know what it is.
It's a depression that happens after you have a child. Not everyone experiences it, but mostly A lot of women.
I've heard like a lot of women. Yeah.
Most women experience it, and it destroys families.
Really?
Yes, because as a man, you'll never understand. You would never understand. So I'm flipping out. You don't even know why. I may be flipping out because of something, I don't know, excuse me, but something bodily that just happened. My body's still adjusting. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling uncomfortable with myself. I feel uncomfortable with my body shape. I feel uncomfortable with what things my body's doing. And you're being who you are. You know what I'm saying? You have your own weight or whatever the case might be. So it's just a communication barrier. It's a big communication barrier, and you can't really describe what's happening to you when it's happening. Just like when women are on their cycles, they're moody, but this is moody times 10. Yeah, and you think about it. Most families don't make it after the child.
Really?
Think about it. After the child happens, it's like they don't really like each other. That. Yeah, a lot of them don't like each other after that. It's like, yeah, it's a whole different person. So postpartum depression is very, very detrimental to your mind, and if you don't have the willpower to pull yourself out of it, or to recognize that you're having it, it's even harder. You know what I'm saying? It's that much harder. So it became such a dark place because I was trying to be somewhere, I wasn't there yet, but I'm still trying to be somewhere. I'm not here yet.
Yeah.
I have a child that won't stop screaming because she only wants me. I'm a hairstylist, so my time is demanding. Yeah. Your father really don't understand what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? Your dad really don't understand what's going on here, but he's trying the best he can.
Yeah.
But he's also a truck driver.
Yeah, so he's on the road week in, week out.
So that's so demanding on your body. So I'm literally keeping my kid doing hair, and I'll send you these pictures too. But I'm literally doing hair at the same time as I'm braiding hair. And this is like a 3-hour style, and I take like 2 a day just to make sure that the ends are being covered. Yeah. So I'm literally holding my child as I'm doing hair.
Hold on, they might can see it. Turn it around. Maybe not.
No, we're gonna send it to you. I'll send it to you. But I'm literally holding my child and just doing that, and it was terrible because she was breastfed, and she didn't like a bottle. So with so many different factors that people don't weigh in when they make decisions, but at the same time, they all have to weigh in when you make your decisions. Yeah. So I'm like, what are we gonna do? So I'm keeping her as much as I can. She don't really like her dad like that because he don't have breasts. So it was like trying to tame him and her. Like, he's like, I don't know what's wrong. She just wants to stop screaming. I'm like, I'm in the middle of a client. I have another interview, and I'm still trying to run a business, and this, that, and the other, and now I gotta go all the way back here. And, it was just like, and I'm cooking, and I'm still trying to
and
you know
all
what I'm
of
saying?
that did not break you.
You trust me, you can't break me. Can't break me. So I'm like, so I'm going through it. As I'm going through it, I'm still trying to push through it. So at this time, I'm still trying to tap into the beauty industry and what I have going on here. And I ended up working for this guy a long time ago, and he always did big beauty shows. So we did one of the beauty shows, and he sold a part of his booth to me. So like you could sell your products here. It's not something you're really allowed to do, but like you could.
It's a little janky.
Yeah, a little. But he was like, you could sell your products here, this, that, and the other. But the thing about it is, you're such a good salesperson. So I want you to still sell for me though. You're not allowed to sell your products. So you're gonna have to hire 2 people to work for you, because I'm gonna need you to sell for me, and that'll be the exchange. So you don't have to pay me to do whatever. So I'm like, okay, I figured out. That's what you need? One of those people, that's what you need me to do? Cool. So he's like, that's what I need you to do. So all right, cool. So I got 2 of my homegirls. They came, they sold my products, and I'm selling his stuff like I normally do. I'm making sure y'all good. All right, cool. Oh, y'all need change, da, da, da. So he just really was a little controlling about stuff like that. He's just like, what are you doing? Like, he was micromanaging. So I'm like, what are you doing? So he's like, hey, remember we had a deal? Like, I'm like, okay, we had a deal. I got you. Your stuff moving, trust me. Yeah. I ain't gonna ever leave you hanging. So I'm like, you good. So I had this lady, she done racked up everything on the table, beauty shows, like. Yeah. So she racked up everything on the table, okay? So she walking around the table, she don't know the difference between my products, your products, whatever. So she's like, at this point, she probably got like maybe $200 worth of stuff from him. And she comes over to my side, and so she's asking questions or whatever. Still got all the stuff that, she's supposed to get. He's like, yo, what's going on? I was like, what? He was like, we had a deal. The lady right here. I'm big on customer service. I'm like, all right, give me a second. Let me check her out. And I'll come talk to you in a minute. I'm saying, though, you're going to make me shut all this down. I'm going to shut this down. You going to do what? I said,
shut it down?
Yeah. I said, you going to do what? He said, I'm going to shut this down. So I said, hold on one second. So I put all that stuff down. And I said, come on. Come behind the curtain. Come behind this curtain.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
do what? Because I'm finna shut this down. So I was like, okay, but you're not finna talk to me like that. Now,
Right.
I'm not finna deal with anybody talking to me any kind of way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're not gonna talk to me like that. And he's like, what? I said, you're not gonna talk to me like that. So he like paced back and forth. Now I've been working with this guy for years. Remember I said I went out of town for a beauty show before. So I'm like, I've been working for him for years. No, we're not finna do that. So he's like, yo, package it and go. I said, what? Now mind you, I spent my rent money to get products here. Anybody know about inventory? It costs money. So I'm like, what? He's like, pack it and go. Bet. So I got my suitcases out. I packed all my stuff up in the middle of the show. I packed all my stuff. It was the first day, a couple hours. I had already sold out of my edge control. And we packing our stuff. So at this point, I'm like, y'all, how am I gonna call him and tell him like, yo, we done spent rent.
We ain't got it no more.
What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, I'm like panicking, this, that, and the other. But in the middle of me panicking, I'm always solving it's because my mind is already trying to solve a problem.
Yeah,
it's like,
close to you, Mike.
It's like reeling through all the problems or whatever. So as it's reeling through all the problems, I'm like, oh my God. So people be like, yo, she freaking out, or Kaylin, it's gonna be okay, or this, that, and the other. Like, Samira, my best friend, she know, let her do that. Like, let her do that. She finna real. Like, it's like, if you ever spin the wheel, if you ever spin the wheel, you'll see it spinning like for a long time before it finally stop on something. That's what happens in my mind when these things happen, because I have really bad anxiety. But I'm getting through it. Just let me do it. Like, just let me go over here for a minute and breathe. So I'm freaking out. What are you gonna do? I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God, let me just call him and tell him what's going on. I'm like, but don't worry, I'm gonna get the money up. He like, it's okay, don't worry about it. I'm finna come get you. No, don't come get me. Don't come get me. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this day. So I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the day. I still had the products on me. We enjoying walking around, having a good time, or trying to. Next thing you know, I just was like, let me just go ahead and go on Instagram, tell everybody I'm whatever. So that's the way I gained my clientele. So I did that, and I ended up getting 2 clients the next day.
Word.
Okay, so 2 clients the next day. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm not gonna come tomorrow. But I'm gonna come the following day, and I'm gonna sell the rest of this stuff out my suitcase. And that's what I did. I did my clients, I sold some of the stuff in the shop, and I came back the next day and I sold the rest of it out the suitcase.
Everything?
Yeah. I'm a salesperson. I was by myself. I ain't have no team. I ain't had nobody with me. None of that. It was just me.
So you were out here selling hair products out of your suitcase
At the show.
that you ain't even supposed to be at no more.
I still could be at the show. I got my band. You just told me I can't work at your booth. So I sold it. I got a baby to feed. I don't got time to play with nobody time. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I have a thing with somebody like trying to like
get over it.
Yeah, he was like making jokes the whole day, like, you know, big bank take little bank, and like just making jokes. It was just like, but I always think it's like some truth to a JK. So I pay attention when people laugh, and I'm like, yeah, I see what you laugh at. Like, you know what I'm saying? I see what you laugh at. I'm peeping what you do. So I sold out my stuff. So we going through phases of life or whatever, just going through whatever the case might be. And we just honestly, over time, it just wasn't working between me and my child father. We couldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
We can be friends. And I think people should get to know people before they jump into a relationship. You should get to know them. Like, what's your name?
Because you never really had the time to establish, like...
We didn't have the time because we jumped from the movies to life. Like, you have to think whoever you're going to be with needs to be like your life partner.
Yeah. Because y'all kind of just jumped into it. Movies to the hotel
from
for
the
a little
movie
bit.
to, I mean, and there's stuff in between that time. Like, before even the hotel situation, we had an apartment together. That's a whole different story. Like, that's a whole different story. Now, that's what I said. I don't need a movie.
So what happened to the hotel? I mean, the apartment.
So, his friend had a deal.
So he just upped and just dipped and just left?
Florida. In the middle of crunch time. He got fired from that same job. Life happens in cycles. Life happens in cycles in the same time. And if you don't interrupt the cycle, it's going to keep happening until you learn your lesson. Because you won't believe he's leaving again. He's leaving again like in a couple weeks. And it's around the same time. Life happens in cycles. But
where are you going this time?
Texas.
To do what?
I don't care. We're not together no more.
But he still has a daughter.
That's not my concern. My concern is to raise my daughter. Whatever you want to do, that's on you.
So he's just up and dipping, saying, "Yo, I'm going to Texas."
So he just so he did that back then, and it caused this whole catastrophe between us. I ended up having to bring him back then.
Again?
Yeah.
Why?
Again.
You keep bringing this dude back.
So you know what? You go through cycles, and you learn your lesson. You interrupt the cycle, so it don't happen no more. So it happened twice. It can happen thrice.
Okay. All right.
Went through it. Really young. At this point, when we first got together, I couldn't even buy alcohol. But he was older than me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so that happened back then. We were struggling back then. He ended up doing all this stuff. I was hip to what was going on. I kicked him out. After I kicked him out, I have a thing for feeling bad for people, too. Oh,
You're an empath.
So, yeah, very much an empath. So, felt bad for him because at this point, he's sleeping on the couch at his friend's house, or his friend's mom's house, and she's giving him a deadline, and yeah, it was just too much. Just before I really was hip to the truck world, like what you really had and what you wasn't doing with it. But that's the thing about potential. A lot of times, like, you could want something so bad for other people, mm-hmm. but if they don't want it that bad for themselves, it's not gonna happen at that time. It doesn't mean it's not gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen at that time. Like, and it's okay. So in that situation, I was just like, let me just, be by myself for a minute. Let me just be by myself, because at this time, my credit is messed up. My credit is through. I have no money. Like, I have money. I have cash. Like, I can put the cash out, but I have no paper trail. Like, it's almost as if I don't even exist in the United States right now.
Dang.
I ain't had no tax records. I ain't had none of that. So, I'm starting over. Just like that.
And it's just you by yourself this time.
Yeah. But before that, I had started preparing myself, because at this time, we was already, we had got engaged and everything.
Really?
Yeah, we had got engaged. And it was the week that we had got engaged.
This dude.
I did. So we had got engaged and everything, and the same week we had got engaged is when everything started taking like a downward spiral. And that's when I started realizing, like, okay, let me step aside of the world we've been living in. We've been living in a very fast world, it's been very eventful. So let me step aside and let me get to know you at this stage. So now we're at year 4, and I'm getting to know you. Can you take me out on a date? No dates. Holiday? I forgot. It was just nothing. So at this point, I'm like, so what
are we doing? What's going on here?
So I'm like, okay, the fight's meaningless. So I'm like, okay. Now, I haven't been by myself at that point, probably like ever. So I'm like, okay, I need to be by myself. Mm-hmm. Because I'm continuously, not continuously, I had only been in 2 relationships ever before, 2 relationships, 2 people, both for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So at this point, I'm like, I haven't been single since, I think I was 15.
Dang.
15, 16, yeah.
So you don't know what to do.
So I don't even know what to do with myself. But I know that's not what I want to do. And I'm not even in a position to get myself like that. So I pretty much called the engagement off, figured out, told him what my expectations were. And at that point, I got to know him. I didn't try to tell him what he should be. I didn't try to tell him how he should be. I didn't argue anymore. I didn't fight anymore. I didn't yell anymore. I didn't get triggered anymore, but I literally just sat there and figured out who you are. So I'm asking you questions, and I'm asking you questions based on my expectations, and I'm just letting you answer them. And based on that, I'm going to be able to tell, if this is going to work just from now or in the future, because these are the things that I want.
Right.
If you can't deliver those things, then it's just not going to work out. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what happened. It was a very hard decision to make. We have a child together. We built this life together from nothing.
Right.
And I'm literally about to hand everything I worked hard to get us to just back, to start this back over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's very, 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 it's very hard. I'm still recovering from it, of course.
Really?
This happened last year. You know what I'm saying? Last year is when I called everything off. We were supposed to be married. What was it, 7/11 last year? 7/11/2020.
Wow.
That was supposed to be the day we got married. I called it off in January, right before COVID. Because COVID hit China before it hit anywhere else. So I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
So when we were planning everything, I already was going through motion with him. And when they told me that the bridesmaids' dresses that were going to be made over there weren't going to be made, I said, yeah, we're not going to do it. And he's just like, what? I'm like, yeah, we should just not get married right now. We should just push it off to whenever. Okay, cool.
It's just like that.
I mean, he really was very nonchalant. Like, he didn't really...
Because y'all both like, all right, whatever.
And I really wasn't like that. But imagine being this Tasmanian devil and somebody just, like, talk to a wall. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just felt like, hello? Like, no. So I was just like, all right, cool. So that's what I did. So at that point, like I said, I started trying to get to know him. I just wasn't getting what I needed from the relationship, just not just romantically, just period. Like I just wasn't getting what I needed. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very hard. But did it. Things transpired, and I was just like, I just can't do this anymore.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. So I ended up working with Simone Harris. She ended up getting my credit right. After that, I started building everything. I was able to get a car. Because at that time, like I didn't tell you, even back then, like I told you, I was the only one that had a car when we moved into the apartment. There was 1 month, I forgot what happened that month, but it was like a lot of stuff that would always go on with the jobs. Mm-hmm. And that month in particular, I had to sell my car so we could pay rent.
Dang. Mm-hmm. So you doing all this, is he still on the road with the truck?
Yeah, he's still on the road. It was like a lot of gaps. Okay, so like stuff would happen with the job, stuff would happen with his truck. And I'm a hustler, so I know how to, if I was always able to get my own money. And that kind of sort of, he had it, but he didn't have it. Like he had a the cameras, he had everything. So I'm like, yo, all you gotta do is do this. Like all you gotta do is take some pictures, post it, just do this thing. Like I'm trying to tell you what I did, like what I'm still doing. And
right.
Like really getting it, and you can understand what to do, but if you can't push it and actually do it, then you can't.
Right. That's true.
So it caused me to have to start all the way over it, like a fresh start, simply by myself. Like I don't want to do it like by myself, because like you could be with the wrong person, it can mess your entire life up.
Clearly.
Yeah. So now I'm a single mother, a business owner, and
Now you're killing it.
I'm trying.
I mean, you do it because you got the you do the vendor tours.
Yes.
You got the salon.
Yes.
You just bought a new Benz. So I mean, life is definitely picking up for you.
Life has definitely picked up for me, and like I said, when you stay focused, that's what's gonna happen. Stuff still happens. Like life
for
is
sure.
life.
It's not gonna stop.
Life is never gonna stop.
The world it's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
24/7.
Right.
But you making it happen.
Exactly.
That's dope, man. I appreciate you coming through and sharing.
I appreciate it.
Cause you taught me so much more about you I just didn't know. Like your resilience is crazy.
You gotta have resilience to get through anything.
Yeah,
I'm noticing that because I'm opening an event center.
Really?
Yeah, I'm opening a multi-use event center.
Where?
Inspired by you.
Oh snap! I feel special.
You should honestly. No, honestly.
When?
So
you didn't tell me this.
It's on Instagram. I only made one post about it because my location is in the middle of the city, so the city is on me about
Atlanta.
No, it's in Stockbridge, Henry County, where I'm from.
Oh.
So I'm going through with the city, but
it's a lot of work. Permits. COVID going on right now too. Everything's slow.
You telling me. So we're just being prayerful about that. Okay. But yeah, I'm opening that, and I just have other stuff going on. But yeah.
Where? So how can people find you?
Find me on Instagram.
Find
me on Instagram at Kaysaidit, KAYSAIDIT, and follow my salon and boutique page, Kay's Boutique, KAYSBEAUTIQUE.
All right, and leave the people a word of advice or just something powerful that you just feel like anybody who's going through your situation, who's been in a homeless situation, who's been a single mom, credit shy, who's just been going through the motions, and they're still pushing. Cause I feel like women are like the toughest creatures out here.
If you have it.
Yeah, if you got it, you gotta have it. Yeah, for sure. So like, leave them with a little word of wisdom.
I think my word of wisdom. We've already said the word resilience.
Go close to the mic so they can hear you.
Sorry, my word of wisdom would have to be just the word resilience. Mm-hmm. No matter what comes, no matter how things look, no matter who comes, no matter who goes.
Yeah.
Just stay on that same path. As long as you stay in your lane, you don't have to worry about anything else that's around you.
All right, y'all heard it first. Make sure y'all follow Kay on the gram. And if y'all in Atlanta need y'all hair done, and it's soon to be if you need an event space, come to the complex first. No, play.
You know what? I started at the complex, so I'm still coming back to the complex.
As you should.
Always.
And make sure you fall off these stairs again.
Listen, it's new now, you guys. It's black. This is carpet. You know, started from the bottom. Now we here. Okay? Run that video back so they can see.
I wish I could, yo. I really wish we could. Listen, y'all heard it all, man. Like I said, this is the story of the overcomer. Kay, appreciate you coming through. And we out.
You.
Peace.